If Sousou No Frieren ended after one chapter, it would still be one of the best manga I've ever read. You all probably know how rare it is for a story to feel fresh and unique right from the start. Especially in a genre like fantasy, where you probably read countless of stories that start out in the exact same cliched way. And that's not bad per se, there's a reason why certain things stick, but it might turn off someone looking for something more distinct, which Freiren definitely is. So the story starts out with the demon lord already defeated, and the heroes going home after years of adventure. So right from the start, this isn't a story about saving the world, but living in the world that you saved. And that is so much more interesting to me at this point. But this by itself isn't what makes Freiren feel fresh, because it actually adds something to the fantasy formula. It actually explores the concept of lifespans. We never really think about it too much, but all these races in fantasy stories with different lifespans would definitely perceive time differently. A great real-world example would be how strange we find it that dogs will love you for life after playing with them for just a bit. But when you take into consideration the difference in lifespan, you should probably understand that what felt like minutes to you was a lot longer for him. Now let's take that concept to its logical extreme. Imagine the difficulty of understanding the emotions of someone that lives not a seventh, but less than 100th of you. To them you just spend most of your lives together, but to you, it was just a passing breeze bound to be forgotten. And that's where Freiren creates its emotional core, in that disconnect between the titular main character and everyone else, based on how they perceive the time they spend together. But for any of that to even matter, they need to first make us care about these characters, and how Freiren does it is by giving us both setup and payoff in the first chapter. So the plot goes something like this. They arrive in town after defeating the demon lord and go watch a once every 50-year meteor shower, and she promises to take the party to a place with better view next time. This is when it starts to get interesting already, because for most in this world this is a once or twice in a lifetime kind of event. But for her it's just another day. She subconsciously expects this to be the first of many for them. And so she goes on what might be a see you later in her mind, but for everyone else it was essentially goodbye. And then the story just flashes forward 50 years in one page. And this is the best thing they could have done, because it puts you in the shoes of Freiren, by making us feel like those 50 years just flew by, just like they did for her. And so when she comes back, her former comrades' lives are about over. And as they go watch the meteor shower together one last time, I was hooked on this series. You see, this manga manages to quickly make a case for the story it's trying to tell straight away. It makes us empathize with the character suffering from an experience that's alien to us. So after the hero dies, we are hit with a scene that almost made me cry. After seeing that at his funeral, she did not. You see, to him, she was a dear friend who he spent the best of his days with, but to her he was just another person she hung out with for a while. And this is what makes her finally cry, not the loss of a friend, but the regret of not being able to value her time with him in the same way. Sousou No Frieren concludes an entire emotional arc, and by doing so connects you to its main character right from chapter 1. You understand her, you empathize with her, and before she even says what her goals are, you know. But above all, this chapter shows that this manga will pay off what it sets up. Freiren's journey isn't a story about self-improvement or fighting off something external. It's an introspective tale. It's about learning how to better understand yourself and those around you. You see, to connect us to the protagonist, the story has to make their goal into something relatable, which might not seem the case for a story about living for centuries. But it still works because feeling an emotional disconnect from those around you is something we can all relate to, even if for different reasons from hers. How many times have you felt like someone else didn't value your time together as much as you did? And how did that make you feel? That is the emotional core of this story. And it's so beautifully executed in just its first chapter that it made me fall in love with it from the start. I don't think I've ever considered a manga a masterpiece after one chapter. Not even with the best of them, not with Berserk or Slam Dunk or Vinland or anything else. But then I read Sousou No Frieren. So that's it, everyone. It's been a long time since a manga has left such an impact on me from the start, and I don't think ever in the first chapter. So if you haven't read it, go do it. And if you have, please leave a comment down below with your thoughts on it. And once you are down there already, why not click the like button and subscribe? Once again, thanks for sticking with me until the end. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. And without further ado, I'm Hellmouth, signing out.